Well, that was a bit weird. Welcome back to Learning and Technology. I'm glad you're here. In this video, we're going to take a look at how we can learn to breathe in order to breathe to learn. When it comes to technology, we're used to thinking in terms of software, electronics, or devices that can help us leverage our natural abilities to enhance our performance based upon those tools that we're using. But what ability do we have that could be more important to us than breathing? In fact, try to stop breathing for a day or two and see how well that works out. But what about technology that enhances our physiological performance? Can we biohack our learning? Well, in this video, let's take a look at whether there's any relationship between breathing and learning. And as this channel is about using technology to help us learn and teach better, are there any technologies that can help us measure and improve our breathing? Well, as you can probably guess, I've looked at the research and discovered some tools that can help us learn better by learning how to breathe better. So you can probably guess that I think these tools are useful, and keep watching to find out what some of these tools are, how you can use them, and how they can help us learn better through our breathing. And you might ask why I'm interested in this better breathing techniques. Well, I think you should be too, and the reason I'm interested in it is because breathing is something that I've actually thought about my entire life. Not consciously, but when I was younger, I had asthma. And one of my most vivid memories is an asthma attack where I was rushed to the hospital by my parents. And I remember the feeling of not being able to breathe, and it was horrible. Then, as I grew older, and fortunately my lungs grew and my asthma subsided, I would often listen to the advice of fitness and health experts, telling us to breathe through our nose and exhale through our mouth. However, despite this awareness, I still struggle to avoid being a mouth breather, because the mouth is for food and the nose is for air, and apparently I like breathing through my food hole. But anyways, the other day I was watching a video by one of my favorite YouTube creators, Ali Abdaal, where he experimented by taping his mouth shut at night in order to force himself to breathe through his nose while he was sleeping. Well, one Amazon order later, and I have my very own strips to try out, which I did try out. There you go. I won't put an affiliate link for these, but well, maybe I will put an affiliate link. They're very handy. Watch to the end of the video. I'll go through the results, and I'll introduce even more breathing technologies along the way that can help us take a fresh breath on breathing and learning. In researching this topic, I found several studies on the effect of oxygen on cognitive functioning, and I've linked a few in the description below. Those studies have found that there are significant positive correlations between changes in oxygen saturation and cognitive performance, which is very interesting. In an interesting article by Dr. Alan Ruth, the health benefits of nose breathing specifically over mouth breathing were examined. So it was time to take this research, examine my own breathing, and consider how I might use breathing as a way to improve not only my health, but my cognitive functioning and hence my learning. So after watching Ali's video on taping his mouth shut, I knew I wanted to try it out for myself. I ordered these mouth strips and I began my own self-experimentation using these. It's important to note that this is just an experiment of one, so it's all personal experience, but I was happy with the results. And when I first told my wife that I was going to tape my mouth shut, she seemed really excited about it. She really liked the idea. I have no idea, but the first night was a bit odd. I wasn't used to having this seal on my mouth, and it did take me a little time to calm down, slowly breathe through my nose, and realize that I wasn't going to suffocate or die. Then, over a couple of nights, I saw some benefits. The first was that I didn't snore, which might actually explain why my wife was so happy, and it can get quite dry where I live, but I wasn't waking up thirsty or dry. I wasn't getting a dry mouth. And so the question is, was this a placebo effect, or was something really changing here? Once again, stay tuned because at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about how I measured a lot of the results and how I use technology to do that as well. Now, this wasn't my first experiment with using a technology, although a simple one, mouth tape, in order to try and improve my breathing. A few years ago, I was certified as a scuba diver, and it's an area that I still remain interested in. However, when I was taking my scuba course, my breathing was an area that felt a little awkward to me. You need to remain calm, and you need your breathing to be under control when you're doing scuba. So ironically, when you breathe in scuba, you breathe through your mouth, and that's where the regulator goes. So what I wanted to do back then was improve the power of my lungs. So I looked at how I could do that through breathing. Well, enter Powerlung. These devices are designed to help strengthen your lung capacity and power. They're ideal for scuba, those that play musical instruments or anything involving your lungs, and anyone seeking just to improve their lung power. There are different resistances available, much the same as resistance bands for building muscle. I have a trainer model, which is the green model here, and I have a sport model, which is the blue model. Initially, I just had the sport model, but my lungs really weren't developed enough for the level of resistance provided by this. So I need something just a little lighter, and I'm actually interested in trying out the Breathwrk model that they have because it's even a little bit lighter. This one, the trainer's sometimes a bit much for me, but still very good. These devices are innovative, and I've also felt they've improved my breathing. Except, of course, I still need to develop better habits on using them more consistently, but when I do, I do feel I get a benefit from them. Now, like all things, we also have apps that can help us with our personal quest for excellence, and I'm using an app on here for breathing called Breathwrk. So you can see that I have a lot of resources when it comes to using simple technologies like a mouth strip, more innovative technologies like the Powerlungs, and even an app in order to improve my breathing. So let's go take a look at the app. The Breathwrk application can be downloaded from the App Store, and if I go into the application, what will happen is it'll give me a number of tutorials that I can go through. So depending on what I'm trying to do, if I want to do breathing to calm down, if I want to do breathing for sleep, I can use breathing to energize myself to when I first awake, and then recharging if you want to recharge yourself. Let's do a recharge during the day. You'll notice down below you have the home menu, which is where we are. You can discover, there's habits, and there's different types of recommended solutions you have here. So it's really kind of a handy different way to help develop different habits, start building your breath, and, you know, again, working on your breathing. So let's do a recharge. So if I click on the recharge, what this will do is it'll give me a timer. And so I'm not going to breathe while I'm talking about the application, but you can do things. For example, down below you can see here I've got the ability to do a voice guide that's going to be coming fairly soon. You can have music in here where you can either have an original or a gong in here, and you can go in and there's a visual guide here. You could use a circle, you can use a wave, or you can use a little monkey called Kiko. But in my case, I'm just going to keep the defaults here, so we'll stay here. So let's go ahead and, again, I'm not going to breathe while I do this, but you can see I can set times of how long I want to breathe for. We'll just do a portion of a small one here, and we'll start the timer. And you'll see, breathe in, then you'll hold your breath for a period of time, and then you'll exhale. And you'll repeat this, as you can see down below, little timer going in here. Now I'm going to just pause this. I just wanted to demonstrate that. But by going through and doing the different breathing exercises, you'll actually start developing a better habit around breathing every day and become more efficient with your breathing. The real question becomes, is any of this working? Now, I only have my own results to go by because it's an experiment of one. However, the research down below does cite to indications that it is some scientific basis for better breathing leading to better oxygenation and then hence better cognition. But the question for me was, how do I measure my results? Well, technology, of course. I've been using a Garmin watch for many years, so I have a Garmin Fenix 5 watch, and I use that to measure my health and fitness goals, keep track and gather data on a lot of biometrics that allow me to improve running, strength, anything that I might be working on. Well, there's many reasons why I chose this specific model of Garmin watch, because I've used Garmin watches for many, many years, used Garmin GPS devices for many, many years, but this specific model allows me to measure my oxygen levels and my acclimation values. So something that's very important if you want to do any type of running or cardio exercise is to know what your oxygen levels are and what your VO2 max is. So this was really helping me look at how my physical efforts result in overall health. Now you can Buy a standalone pulse oximeter, which allows you to connect it to your finger and it'll grab your VO, your oxygen levels in your blood as well. Or the new Apple Series 6 watches apparently have that as well. I don't have an Apple Series 6 watch, I'm happy with my Garmin, but the new Apple watches also allow that to measure your blood oxygen. Let's go have a look and see at my own blood oxygen levels over a period of time. In addition to actually measuring my fitness levels and such, the Garmin watch provides me with both an app on my iPhone that synchronizes with my health stats, as well as a dashboard at connect.garmin.com. So what we're interested in is, was my breathing improved? Was the oxygen levels in my blood improved, either through my breathing exercises or by using the mouth strips at night? Well, let's take a quick look. This is my fitness level, and now don't make fun of me in the comments because I haven't been working out as much as I should. I'm back on track. I'm starting to get back on track for April, but I had a bad few months here, but don't mock me in the comments. If I go down below here, you'll notice I have a measurement, which is the oxygen levels in my blood, and you can see right now I'm sitting at about 94%. And that's because down here, I'm 94, 93. These are very low values for me. Normally what I want to do is I want to be in the 90 to 100%. But in my case, I really want to be more 96 to 98%. That's the ideal level. And what the Garmin watch does is shines a light onto your skin and measures the oxygen levels in the small blood vessels. And that's what any of the oxygen meters will do. So what I can do is, let's go to a day where I was using the mouth strips. So I know that I didn't use them last night, but I do know that I was using them near the end of the month in March. So let's grab Saturday. So you can see right away I have a higher level here, and specifically at night. Notice at night I'm getting really good oxygen levels into my bloodstream. Maybe not so much around 3 to 4 a.m. It seems to be, or I guess from 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. I'm down to 95, 96 from 5 to 6. But you can see sort of at the very, that's just before I woke up. But you can see here that, in the middle of the night I'm getting really good oxygen. And that's probably a result of the mouth strip being able to be there and forcing me to breathe through my nose, which is giving me more oxygen. So I'm pretty happy about the results there. Now, I haven't done enough of this to give a really definitive understanding of whether or not my breathing exercises in combination with the mouth strips that I'm using and the Powerlung that I'm using is having effects. That's something that's going to take probably 30 to 90 days for me to really see some effects of that. Plus, you also have to consider that I also need to get out and do more running and more fitness. So it can't just be one thing that's going to solve my oxygen levels. Well, solve, it's not a problem for me, but it's something that I always want to improve. So there you have it. Biohacking for cognition, biohacking for learning, and biohacking our breathing. Something we take for granted, science shows we can improve upon it, and something that you might want to look into in terms of improving your breathing to improve your learning. We can use technology, we have tools that will help us leverage that, and we have tools that help us measure that. Comment below if you've ever done any type of breathing exercises or use the technology to help you improve your breathing. I'd be very interested in other technologies that are out there as well. Of course, please don't forget to subscribe and like and share this videos with others. Thank you for watching. Here's some other videos on my channel that you might enjoy, and we'll see you next time.